Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg on your council recap for the recent council meeting on May 13. Chad Brecklin, your city administrator, is here to give us an update as we go through on our new start time. So meeting is kicked off at 6:30 now. Moving forward, how'd that work out?
It seemed to work out well. It was nice to start an hour earlier, particularly since we had a 3.5-hour meeting. And, I think overall it's going to be a good change, and hopefully the community feels the same way, that, if they want to come in and speak at a meeting or watch a meeting, they can do it an hour earlier than they normally would in the past.
Fantastic. And remember, you can see those on the agenda. So it's posted on the agenda. Finance and public safety also start earlier now, too. Those might fluctuate just a little bit, depending on the topics there. Let's jump in to the agenda. We'll jump right down to item number 1 under Plan Commission, an ordinance for adopting, it's kind of cut off, but a minor comp plan amendment is the way I wrote it down here.
Yeah, so there was also a public hearing on this particular matter at the start of the Common Council meeting, which is required as part of the process. And this is really the initial step, or one of the initial steps in a proposed development that's going to take place on Nesbitt Road. It's, I think, a multi-phase project that would be about 240 units of, I believe, exclusively senior housing. And some of those units would be, quote, affordable housing units as well. We have a significant need for housing units in general, and definitely a need for housing units that are available for seniors, and also more affordable than others. So this simply was a change in land use. It's a minor amendment to our city's comprehensive plan, which allows this project to begin really moving forward. But there are a number of steps yet in this particular process.
All right, well, stay tuned for that. We switch over to Board of Public Works on a resolution approving the purchase of a Bobcat Toolcat. Is it two different things, or is it one vehicle?
It's one vehicle. Bobcat is the manufacturer and Toolcat is the model. And then this thing is a bit more maneuverable than what we were previously using to plow bike paths and other things. It's a little smaller. You can put multiple attachments on it, so much more functional year-round use for this particular item. The Parks Maintenance Department, Highway Maintenance Department has at least one of these units and have found them to be very helpful and useful.
Yeah, I see it out here all the time. I'm like, when can we drive it? Maybe you and I can take it that first spin. Probably not.
That seems like a good Talking Fitchburg segment.
Yeah, that seems like a good not happening.
And we'll ensure that our workers' comp and liability insurance is paid up.
Yeah, Mark would be like, no, not happening, Jeremy. Anywho, moving on, resolution authorizing design services. This is in our South Sain Road reconstruction project.
Yeah, this is not uncommon whenever we get into these major road reconstruction projects to have some additional design work that is necessary. That's what's happening here. I think in the grand scheme of things, we needed to amend the budget to allow for an additional $30,000 to $35,000 to cover some additional design services that had been done by the contracted firm, and this amendment passed and authorized those payments.
Fantastic. Moving on to Parks Commission, you're going to see a lot of parks projects happening this year. We're going to discuss that in our update coming up. But you have approval here for replacement of a playground structure at the Rimrock Park, which is, I like to think of it as a pocket park, but it's a really neat park either way.
Yeah, it's a small little park, obviously, off of Rimrock Road in the Southdale neighborhood. This is original Fitchburg, where this particular park is located. It is immediately adjacent to the Southdale neighborhood that was absorbed from the town of Madison a couple of years ago. But this is a standard replacement of a playground structure. We do 1 or 2 of those each year. There, I think, are about 40 playground structures throughout the entire city. And they last anywhere from 20 to 25 years, so this is a standard life cycle replacement.
We also have improvement of park amenity improvements at Highfield Reserve, Outlot 3.
So this is a new park that's coming into a new residential subdivision, Highfield Reserve specifically, which was back off of Nobel Drive in kind of the central part of the city. And we've done this in one other occasion where we've worked with the developer to follow the normal process that our Parks Department would follow in order to bring a park online. And in this case, the developer is utilizing that process and bringing this park online, working its way through all the normal steps and approvals that would be required as if city staff were doing it But what we find is that they have the ability to get these things done as they're doing other work within their development. They have relations with design firms and so forth to help get these things designed, and some just general expertise that is beneficial to be able to utilize. And then as a result, whatever that investment is, up to certain dollar amounts that we've approved, is credited back to their what they would owe for park fees. So it's kind of a win-win.
It is, yeah. It's quite the process, and I'm glad you shared it with us, certainly. Moving on to Transportation and Transit Commission, adopting a Vision Zero policy.
Yeah, so Vision Zero is really a transportation-related policy, and as the name implies, is the goal or vision for this program is that there are 0 deaths on our roadways, be it motorists, bicyclists, pedestrians. That roads will be, and our engineering department and our police department and city staff will take an approach that we're striving for 0 deaths, which fortunately we typically have maybe 1 a year on average. So we're doing quite well, but as you know, there's always room for improvement. And this was an authorization to fully adopt a Vision Zero policy. And one of the things that we are waiting for as a result of this is a comprehensive roadway safety assessment. We had some grant funding that was identified to complete this assessment. It's about $240,000 in grant funding. That's currently in limbo right now with some of the decisions that are being made at the federal level. So we're still waiting to see if this funding will actually materialize, and if it doesn't, the city will have to consider what its options are to continue to implement a Vision Zero policy.
All right, more to come on that then in the future for sure. Moving over to Ag and Rural Affairs, this item was postponed or delayed, but nevertheless, Ordinance 2025-07 for private well prohibited in Chapter 490 excessive Nevertheless, this will be coming back, but what is this piece?
So basically what this is currently city ordinances do not allow somebody who is on a private well but also has municipal water service nearby to actually put a private well in for residential use. What this does is make an amendment to our ordinances that would allow property owners with certain zoning on their property to not be forced to connect to municipal water if they are serving an existing residential structure and that residential structure is more than a certain distance away from municipal water. So there's a handful of properties that this ordinance would aid, so to speak, because their residential structure is a notable distance from municipal water that is going by and would be costly in order for them to connect.
It's a growing city thing, right? Like it's one of those that you keep coming back to.
Well,
and
growing city that was a township at one time.
Exactly, that's right. The transitioning of town to a city, right? Certainly. All right, well, that tentatively might come back on May 27th meeting.
It's got another committee, 2 more committees and commissions to go through.
Copy that. Moving on to Healthy Neighborhoods Committee here. Another one that is being postponed. This is the strategic plan. No changes on that one. Just another few committees.
Needs a couple more committee meetings, and it'll be back to council in June.
Fantastic. And then we have our final resolution here. Or not final, sorry. I'm jumping the gun. But a resolution to approve 2025 funding awards for the Healthy Neighborhood Grant Program. This is exciting stuff.
Yeah, the city's Common Council has authorized a Healthy Neighborhoods Grant Program, I think since about 2017 or so. And there were 19 applications submitted, 13 winners, if you will. Shouldn't say.
I wrote winners down. 13, don't read my note.
13 applicants were selected. I suppose you could look at it in that format, but
they were chosen.
They were selected based upon their application. There was about $140,000 in funding, which included some one-time money from the ARPA TID investment plan, as well as some unclaimed money from past grant periods. So that dollar amount is likely to decrease in the next grant cycle unless the Common Council authorizes funding to maintain that level.
Congratulations to those nonprofits. You can check out those presentations. We have that from the during as they presented. It's pretty fascinating stuff. There's some great nonprofits out there. We have Finance Committee from the Fire Department, approval of replacement fire turnout gear. Sounds like an annual replacement.
Yeah, the fire department, obviously their turnout gear is that heavy gear they wear whenever they are on calls for service, particularly fighting fires. That gear has a useful life of 10 years, and every year they assess how many units of gear are at the 10-year replacement cycle, and voila. We replaced that.
Voila, new turnout gear.
New turnout gear was approved for purchase.
All right, we have a resolution here revising the financial policy guidelines.
Yeah, I'm going to take this one along with the next one, Jeremy, if that's okay.
I almost was going to combine them, but I'm like, I don't know any better, so I'll let you take that.
So they are related, and we used our public finance consulting firm, Ellers, to review our financial policies and our investment policies to confirm that they are still aligned with best practices from our consulting firm's perspective. And I am pleased to report that by and large, all of the practices that we had been utilizing are still viewed as best practices with perhaps some minor tweaks here and there. There were a few other things that were added to both of these particular policy documents, and in most cases too, the format was cleaned up to be a bit more contemporary since these had not had a full-fledged rewrite, so to speak, since about 2012 or so. So both of these items just reaffirm the practices that we were doing already that have led to the city being rated by Moody's as a AAA city from a financial perspective. So good things, necessary periodic reviews, but the city's in a good spot as it relates to its financial and investment policies.
Yeah, I would encourage you. The Ellers was on site and did present during that item. So if you're curious, you can go back and watch these meetings and check that out for sure if you want to learn a little bit more about what was discussed there and what was added as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
It's a lot of information, but I think definitely good to know and know why you earn the ratings that the city has. It's because of these cleanup, or not cleanup, but
sure.
Great additions there to these policies.
And I will add that Ellers will be back at the June Committee of the Whole, as they typically are, to talk about our financial position as well.
Fantastic. Look forward to that. We move on to Fire Department, again, amending the general fund budget for Fire Department tower lease payment.
Yeah, so we have an analog radio system that serves our public safety departments in both Fitchburg and Verona. And we lease space on a particular tower to help with our coverage, and this is an amendment to cover some changes in that lease payment.
All right, then we move on to direct referrals authorizing partial tax assessment payment.
Yeah, we had a property owner who filed an excessive tax assessment claim through further investigation, if you will, between our city team and the team representing the property owner. It was determined that our assessment was a bit too high the last 2 years, and in total, approximately $30,000 will be refunded to this property owner.
And then we had an update from Chris Letts, the city assessor, which he'll be coming on talking Fitchburg as well, but talking about reevaluation.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who's listening to this segment, if they haven't watched at least our assessor's presentation at the Common Council meeting on Tuesday night, to take the time to look at that. Assessments are one of the many complicated things that happen within a city, and probably oftentimes quite misunderstood. There's often that misunderstanding that assessment value equates to a corresponding tax increase. Whenever your assessment goes up, your tax payments are going to go up. Is that possible? Yes, but does it typically happen in direct correlation? No, it does not. Chris gave a good presentation to outline the assessing process, and also to talk about why we're doing a revaluation again this year when we had done one in 2024. And I will comment on a couple of things. I'll get back just to that tax assessment, tax payment bit real quick, and just offer a statistic. If you look at the 2017 through 2024 tax years, the total increase in city portion of the tax bill, which has generally been around $2,400 annually for an average single-family home, has increased about 10% during that time frame. The average single-family home assessed value during that same time period has increased just over 60%.
Jeez.
So it's important to note that while yes, home values are increasing, and that is directly correlated to the market value of those houses, that's what our state statutes require us to assess them at, is at fair market value. There is definitely not a direct correlation between the city portion of taxes and the value of the house.
It's complicated, as mentioned, but that's super important. And I would even offer, too, that it's not just Fitchburg,
Right.
You can talk around Dane County, you can talk around the state of Wisconsin, and the way that assessing is being done. Everybody's seeing the similar things. Maybe different growth pieces happening in their areas, but similar in fashion.
Exactly. And the other thing I want to add on this particular item is what we have found the last 2 years when we've done revaluations in even numbered years when there is either a presidential or gubernatorial election, that ends up to be 4 elections between primaries and general elections in that calendar year. Our clerk's department also has responsibility to assist with the revaluation through the board of review process. And what we found is we simply, based on our size, do not have the staff capacity to man both a board of review coming out of a revaluation year and general election or even numbered elections. And it is my opinion that one of the fundamental things we do in local government is administer elections. And that is not something we want to be distracting our staff with other tasks during that time. So that is that is quite honestly the primary driver as to why we followed up the 2024 revaluation with the 2025. And moving forward, it is our intent to do the revaluations on odd numbered years.
Gotcha.
Could there be something that requires an even numbered year revaluation? Of course. But right now, that is not on the radar. That is not something we're anticipating. It is our intent, again, to go to odd-numbered years for evaluations.
And I think that's good, important note, because you don't know from behind the scenes what it's taken to put together for elections, and then board of review. You want to make sure everybody has their chance to get into board of review, and those can go on for months. So it's definitely a lot of work, and we appreciate the team, from our assessing team to our clerks to all our teams for what they're doing there. You did have a closed session and nothing to report out of that, so we'll go right on to our next Common Council meeting. Will be May 27th, and the next Committee of the Whole will be May 28th. Enjoy the nice weather while we have it. Sounds like a cold thing, streak's coming.
It is.
It's spring for you, right?
What do you do?
What do you do? Thank you so much, Chad.
Thank you.